Already. Hello, hello, hello. Wow.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. That's a huge crowd. That's amazing. Well, we're here at the Girls Talk panel. My name is Alexandra Bondi de Antoni. I'm the editor of ID Germany, and I will be hosting this questionnaire today. And I'm joined by these three lovely ladies. Hello. Maybe before we start and that everyone gets an idea who we are, you can introduce yourself quickly.
Hi, I'm Adwoa. I'm the founder, thank you. I'm the founder of Girls Talk and also a model.
I'm Maxim Magnus. I'm a model and an LGBTQ activist.
Hey, I'm Dr. Lauren Hazori. I'm a psychologist who does a lot of work with Girls Talk and Adwoa and Holly with Girls Talk. And I've created the practice, which is an experience for girls and women to come together and stand in their power.
So, Adwoa, can you started Girls Talk out of your own experiences, right? Can you maybe talk a little bit about that?
It all started, I was given so much support when I was going through a couple of tough years. And so it really was just a responsibility that I felt coming out of that dark hole that we all know too well. And it was a responsibility I had. I'd been helped by so many women, and I'd been blessed to have taught very simple, lessons on how to speak openly and honestly and be an authentic human being. So really, I've just stolen something that I was taught in treatment and am trying to, carry out here through Girls Talk. But it's very simple. It's everything I ever needed at school. It's everything I ever needed when growing up. I'm trying to create a platform that is all-encompassing, that opens the door to women and girls from all demographics, all colors, shapes, sizes, where you're allowed to share both happinesses and sadnesses and without any stigma, judgment, or shame. So, yeah. And I'm very lucky to have a great team, Holly, Lauren, a few others that have made this a reality.
And when did you come on board, Lauren?
Well, I came on board, it's just about a year ago, and I started to contribute for the website, girlstalk.com. And so what happens is that any girl or woman can go on, any human being can go on the site, and if you have any questions, then I receive the emails. And so we do a lot of back and forth then with trying to work through the problems into different solutions. And so then after that, I was able to do the event in London with Adwoa and Holly, and now I'm here. So every day in the booth here, we do a talk at 2:30. So it's really just about talking about how social norms affect how we think, feel, and behave. And then we come up with solutions and work through those and take questions and things like that.
That's amazing. So what do girls talk about? Like, what's the thing that most of the girls say when they come and approach you?
Okay, well, not only here, but what I've noticed is that no matter where girls are from, right, whether they're in the US, they're in the UK, they're here in Germany, we all have the same problems because we've all been listening to the same messages from the time that we're born, right? So most of the time, girls and women come in with a lot of anxiety. Most of the time, girls and women come in and they have a lot of mood dysregulation, which means that their mood goes up and down, and they kind of feel like they're on a roller coaster, and they say, God, I think I'm crazy. I say, no, you're not crazy, you're human. That's just part of the human condition. And the last thing is body image concerns and appearance, worried that people are judging them and things like that, the comparison game that comes with social media. So these are the real problems that girls and women are talking about. And when we look at the messages that we receive from birth, which are to be accommodating, polite, demure, what does that even mean? to be thin and attractive, to be smart but not too smart, to be successful but don't challenge the system. But when you look at how those things affect how we think, feel, and behave, it's no wonder that we all feel crazy sometimes. So my message is not, you're crazy? Cool, we have solutions for that. It's, you're not crazy. You're human. Anybody would feel this way under the current circumstances in this society. And society is where we are, not who we are.
And
yeah. What I would love to talk a little bit about is about feeling wrong in your own body, because I think we all been through that you just feel really, you look in the mirror and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? And you look at yourself or you feel something and you're like, I can't even think about this right now. So I think every one of us has a story here. So maybe, Maxime, do you want to start and share yours?
Sure. So I've always felt kind of, like the outsider. I was always a little different, as they say. For all of you who don't know who I am transgender, and my transition. I'm now 19, and I've been transitioning since I was 13, 14. I just always felt like I was trapped in the wrong body, but never knew what it meant to be transgender. There's no real education about it out there, and especially when I was, even so many years ago when I was 13, 14, I didn't know anything about the topic, let alone, people 20 years ago, I can't imagine. So I really, it's a horrible feeling. Waking up every morning, looking in the mirror and thinking, God, why am I trapped in this body? What did I do wrong? But I think, what I just want to say to people and what I've learned so far, in the last years of my transition, even before my surgeries, I just learned to love myself, and I decided to say, don't sit there and pity yourself, work hard for what you want, really put through, and just make the most of it, because at the end of the day, life is short and you should make the most of it, I find. Yeah, it's just kind of my story.
Do you remember the first time that you realized that there's something like gender out there, or that there are differences between being female and being male?
I really started noticing that when all of my friends, started doing things that normal teenage girls do. Date boys, go shopping and buy beautiful dresses, or go to the beach and wear a bikini. And I couldn't do all of those things. And those things might seem like very superficial things to a lot of people. But when you're trapped in the wrong body, it feels really daunting, and it feels awful. And I feel like that's when I first realized, because I always had a lot of girlfriends, way more than guy friends, and that was never an issue until that point where I was really confronted with that. And then through YouTube, I found a way to kind of make it easier.
How you
myself.
got educated about having a gender? Or...
Yeah, I had to educate myself, through people like Gigi Gorgeous, who I love. At the time, she didn't come out as transgender yet. So, but she was always wearing makeup, being really extravagant, and I loved that. She was really my role model at the time. And then I just kind of, through my own research, I kind of found out, and then my parents came up to me and said, Maxim, we think, we've made an appointment for you to see a doctor and to talk about these things. And they meant it in a good way. And I went, and then they explained to me, what the term transgender meant. And then I felt, this is me. This is what I need to do in order to be happy. Yeah.
How about you, Adwoa?
Living in a body that you're not comfortable with. A lot of you know my story, and it goes, it's the same as Maxim. I was not educated on mental health. I had no idea why my moods swung like they did. I had no idea why sometimes I'd get out of bed and I'd feel high on life, and then others I couldn't even, muster up the energy to brush my teeth. And it was because I wasn't educated, and I was surrounded by amazing people. I've got amazing parents and a beautiful sister, but and great friends, but it wasn't part of the social norm was to not speak. The social norm was to be silent, and as my mum would like to say quite a lot of the time, is just let's get on with it. When, it's not too bad. And that's, it's true in a few, sense of the word. I'm very grateful. I have an amazing life, but I was almost very shameful, like the feelings I had about myself, because I was like, I've been given such an amazing life. I go to this great school. All these different sorts of things. Why am I not happy being me? And that's something I really try and outline in Girls Talk, is that, like Lauren said, you can be a girl in Germany, you can be a girl in, Los Angeles, Skid Row, and you can be a girl in, West London, privately educated, posh, whatever, and still be going through the same problems, or even not necessarily the same problems, but be able to relate and be able to talk and share your experiences so others don't feel alone. And I didn't have anyone to talk to. I felt like I was the only person on the planet that felt like, like they just wanted to jump out of their skin. And I was completely wrong. And it's, that self-love is something I work on a daily basis. And, it sometimes sounds silly because being a model, your face and all those things that are celebrated, but it doesn't mean anything if I don't feel it inside. And I think the reason that, it's been going so well, and that I've been given this platform to spread the message and, be here on this stage, is because that industry sees something that's a bit more alive. They see someone who isn't uncomfortable in their skin anymore. Yeah.
Do you, I think when you like realizing that you maybe have a problem, and that's really a normal thing to have, is one of the biggest steps to feeling better. Do you remember the moment when you actually thought, okay, something's going completely wrong now, or was it with help from outside, or did it come from inside?
I always explain it as like pure exhaustion. I was so tired. I was so tired of putting up a front and pretending to be someone I wasn't. And I was so distracted by everyone else's lives and what they were doing and what parties they were going to and who's friends with who. And this boom of social media that would pull me into traps of comparison with other women and other people. And it was exhaustion. It was my parents they thought I just had a drug problem, an alcohol problem, but really there was something that had always been underlying that. And that was my self-medication and how I got through certain things until those things didn't work anymore. But there were many realizations I had when I was like, it's not going well. But I really was still trapped in the ways in which I taught myself, how I taught myself how to protect everything inside was to shut everyone out. So to relearn all that stuff took a lot of time. So I think that's why, I was sober, but then I had my suicide attempt. And, all of these things came after because I was very unwilling to take anyone's advice. I was very unwilling to listen to my psychiatrist. And I was still trapped in this lie and this facade. So it took a while for me to get to this place that I am.
And how did you break out of those things in your brain?
With a lot of help, and I started letting people in. I started talking, and I started taking advice, and I started realizing that my way wasn't working anymore. And the reason I wasn't getting better was because I was completely unable to share honestly. And so it was just, I had to keep on doing it. I was very, lucky enough to be in great group therapy sessions with amazing men and women who pushed me every day to confront what I was going through. I wasn't even given really the time or space to lie, because they were on it all the time. And it was scary. It was scary having to confront lots of things. It was scary having to let go. It was almost like a mourning period for me. I had to let go of a life that hadn't been working for some time.
So why do you think, Lauren, are there so many stigmas still about mental health? What's going on there?
Okay. All right, so why is there such stigma to mental health? Well, I think that, of course, all of these things are very new. So when we look at physiological disorders or anything going on with us physiologically, that science is so much older than anything in psychology. This is actually, in the grand scheme of things, very new, and it's so misunderstood. So I think the first thing to do to reduce the stigma is this, right? So we all start talking about it, and we're more open and honest, and it seems like over the past several years, people have been much more willing to do that. The next thing, though, is I think really educating people on mental health disorders. Because a lot of times when we think of mental health, when I was growing up, and I'm 42 years old, and so when I was growing up, it was like, there was the crazy guy on the street. And so we looked at a lot of psychosis and just took that as being mental health. Well, mental health is also all of the stuff that we all go through every single day. And I oftentimes, in order to try to help people to understand what mental health disorders really are, is I talk a little bit about diagnosis. And while I don't want to get too clinical, I think the big thing is this. In order to diagnose a mental health disorder, we have a big book. And in the big book, there's depression, and there's bipolar disorder, and there's all the anxiety disorders, which is like OCD, generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and all of those. If you are to be diagnosed with one of those disorders, you need to meet these criteria. So for, let's say, an anxiety disorder, I'll say you need to have 5 out of these 9 things in order to have that label. And the reason that you get that label is because then there are certain scientifically driven treatments that are then the solution for that problem. The only reason that you have the label is so that all the different people working on your team can talk about it in a concise way. Well, here's the deal. If you look at the actual criteria, if you need the 5 out of 9, well, how about the person who has 4 out of 9? They don't actually meet criteria for an anxiety disorder, but they have anxiety. And the difference between somebody who has one and somebody who doesn't might be a good night's rest. Because if you actually look at the criteria, it's like things like, do they sleep well? Are they eating too much or too little? Different things like that. So it's not like, whoa, this person's crazy. It's like, whoa, this person didn't get a good night's sleep. So I think just educating people on what it actually means to have a diagnosis, like depression or anxiety or bipolar disorder, or all of the things that many of us have today, you need to look at, okay, so what does that actually mean? Well, it means that your lifestyle patterns are off. Eat, sleep, exercise. You do that, you might not meet criteria anymore. So that means get at 8 hours of sleep. You need your circadian rhythm working for you rather than against you. You need to eat 3 meals, 2 snacks. Bottom line, your brain needs to be nourished. This is all a brain game. The last thing is you need to exercise. And the reason you need to exercise is not so that you have a nice ass. It's so that you can increase your serotonin level in your brain, because serotonin is the neurotransmitter that makes us feel good. And we all need to hit a serotonin in order to feel good. So just adjusting those 3 things can take you from diagnosed to not diagnosed. And to reduce the stigma, we need to recognize, oh, wait a second. So maybe this is just a human thing. This isn't like crazy, not crazy. The message is not, oh, you're messed up? No problem. You're not alone. We're messed up too. And the message is not, oh, you're messed up? No problem. We have solutions for that. The message is, you're not messed up. You're human. You're not the problem. Each one of us, standing in our own power, we're the solution. And until we recognize that and recognize that we're not all trying to meet a purpose, we individually are our purpose. And so when you recognize that you just need to stand in your power and be proud of who you are. Be proud that you're human. And I think, Adwoa, when you were talking, I was thinking, you're saying when you started to let go. We have to let go of who we think we should be to become who we are. We each had to do that. It took me a hell of a long time. And the reason that I'm so comfortable talking to you today is because I wasn't comfortable in my own skin for like 3 decades, at least 3 decades, close to 4. So here's the deal. It took me a while to get here. And it doesn't matter how long it takes, it just matters that you do. Because like I said, you are your purpose, and you are the reason that you are here. And the world will accommodate to you. You don't need to accommodate to it.
How do you feel about, I think one of the biggest things that also been talked about a lot already is, or you also said it already, like social media and how everyone's portraying their perfect life and how everyone's pretty and perfect and fun and whatever. So, how do you feel about it, Maxime?
Well, I kind of agree with Adwoa. It's a lot of pressure. I do understand that a lot of people get caught up in it. And I feel a lot of girls look at some of these pictures of these women, or even at, sometimes I get comments, oh my God, you look amazing. And it's for me, that is the best thing I can hear, because I feel so good in my body right now. And I've learned that actually, thank you. I've learned actually that I used to post so much on social media. And actually the more comfortable I got in my skin, the less I started posting. I mean, my quality of what I posted, I would say, got better, and the quantity got less, just because I realized that you don't really need that outside attention, If you don't trust on other people to say something and then, oh my God, sorry, I can't get out of my words. Don't trust, you don't need to wait for someone to say something good about you. You have to define your own self-worth. And if you start to feel comfortable in your body, like me, it took me years to feel comfortable in my body. And I can now say, I've recently signed with a modeling agency, which is my most exciting thing I've ever done. And I feel if we all just, there's so much negativity in the world. And I feel if we all just look in the mirror and say, I love myself, it helps. And I feel if once you start thinking about that, you will care a lot less about what people do on social media. I think social media is a great platform. I love it because I can use it to educate. I can use it to spread awareness. But people also use it for other things, just to show pretty things, and that's also okay, because that's life. But yeah, I don't know if that made sense.
How do you think? How can we use social media then as kind of a form of an activism? When you have such a huge followership, for example, you do.
I'm very, very strict on this, and I sometimes sound a bit rude and blunt, but if you're not using your platform for something good, you're just fucking lazy. Sorry. Just put it straight. Sorry. And obviously some have larger followings and some have smaller followings, but if the person with a few hundred followers can put out a good message, then so can the person with, 5 million. If a selfie can get tens of thousands of likes, we can brainwash in other ways as well. We can spread a message, and that's how social media can be used in a good way. And it's just about taking on the responsibility. It's about looking at your followers and looking at that girl in, you know, the middle of America who looks up to you and is obsessed with you, and taking on the responsibility for her and being like, okay, I can show her this world, but I can also show her this as well. And I can show her that it's not all about the car and the watch and the handbag, but also about insides and relationships and being present and being grounded and being completely woke. And you can do that. It's just... And they should come first before the selfie. They should be the priority.
Can I add to your point?
Sure.
Sorry.
Please do.
Like, I do... I also feel like what Adwoa was saying before, like, you know, she's had such a supportive, like, family, and I've had the same thing, and I feel I, you know, have a, let's say, like, a smaller following than, for example, you, but, like, I feel my followers have given me so much support, and I feel also the community has given me so much support that I kind of not only owe it to them, but owe it to myself to give them something back, because they've shown me so much love and so much support. And yeah, like, I'm here today. Thank you so much. Like, it's, yeah, something I want to give back. And I feel like a lot more people need to take that responsibility.
Can I add one thing to the social media thing?
Sure.
Well, no, I think social media, you know, of course, such a hot topic for all of us. And I think, you know, a lot of us are talking about our position in social media, but I think I wanted to go back to a point that you made in the question with, you know, the comparison game and how we often compare ourselves with the images and the people's lives. You know, everybody looks like they're crushing life on social media, don't they? Like, everybody, like, has, like, they do amazing things and go amazing places, and they always have on beautiful clothing, and it's like, whoa, like, I didn't know that she lived like that, you know, like, amazing. This is one thing that I always try to keep in mind. I think of life and the human race like being one big, humongous puzzle. And I was telling this to some of the girls in the Girls Talk booth today. And each one of us is a puzzle piece, okay? So each one of us is a puzzle piece in this big old human race puzzle. And some people have big puzzle pieces, like Oprah. Some people have medium, like medium to large, like Adwoa, right? I have a smaller piece. But if you've ever put together a puzzle, you know that regardless of size, each puzzle piece counts. Every piece matters. Size does not matter. Presence matters. Because if you don't have every single piece of that puzzle, if one, even one really little piece is missing, your puzzle sucks. And so in this big old human race puzzle, we need the big ones, like Oprah. We need the medium to large, like Adwoa. We need maximum, and we need me. And we need every single one of you. And so, yeah, if I were to base my value and self-worth on my social media following versus anybody on this stage, I would feel like a piece of shit. But here's the deal. That has nothing to do with who I am. It has nothing to do with my value. It has nothing to do with my purpose. And until I recognized that, I wasn't given opportunities like this. Like this right here for me, this is my dream. Wow. You know, and aside from that, you know, when we were talking about, you know, looking and wanting to get likes, you need to know this scientifically. It's a brain game. Every single time you get a like, you get a hit of dopamine, and it's the pleasure center of your brain. And so this isn't you just being gluttonous. You have to be aware of what's going on. You get like, it goes, woo! You get like, it goes, oh! You get another like, it's like, holy shit! Right? And so what happens when you're not getting likes is that your brain is starving for dopamine. So you have to look at other healthy ways to funnel in the dopamine and increase the serotonin, go for a run, connect with other human beings in a meaningful way. Those things too increase dopamine. And so you don't need the likes, you need to like yourself and live your life.
I'm flawed, so I'm just gonna...
So we don't have that much time left. So before we open the questions from the audience, it would be really great maybe that if each and one of you, well, I can't talk anymore either, can you give an advice for girls who are struggling with themselves? Just like a short message for anyone out there. And then we open up for questions.
You want me to go? Hi. I've been waiting a long time. I got a lot to say. Okay, so here's the deal. For any girl or woman, or any man too. You know, somebody asked at the Girls Talk booth today, can men come in? I was like, yeah, you walk in men, woman, you walk out woke. That's the goal. It doesn't matter. We're just all human beings, right? And we're all connected. We're all in this together. And so in order to become you, we have to let go of this idea of a lot of the different empowerment sites and things on social media is to become your best self. If I waited to get up here till I became my best self, I certainly wouldn't be here today. You just got to be yourself. That's hard enough. But as we look at, different essays and articles and publications, we look at, we need to do the work. The work is this. In order to get there, I focus on 4 things. I split myself up into 4 aspects of a human being: physically, spiritually, emotionally, and intellectually. And I make sure that I do things in those columns every single day. So what does that look like? Physically, eat, sleep, exercise, like we talked about before. Spiritually, connect with other human beings in a meaningful way. It's not putting on the whole show. It's not like all the, bullshit of social niceties. And it's not like liking their photo. It's literally connecting with another human being. When you're trying to connect with another person, you're never worried about what they're thinking of you, because you're connecting on a different level. That's what I mean by spiritual, connecting, because I'm connected to you, you to her, her to him, and so on. Emotionally, manage the negative voice in your head. We each have one. We each have a positive and negative thought voice. Our negative thought voice leads to feelings. Feelings leads to action. If you're not doing something that you want to do, or you are doing something that you want to stop doing, go check your feelings. If you're feeling down and out, if you're feeling anxious, go to your thought. Your thought is making you feel that way. Your thought is likely irrational because everything that you need is between your head and your toes. So look at your thought. If you're thinking, oh my God, everybody's looking at me and everybody's thinking I'm so stupid, well, then of course you're going to feel like, oh my God, I don't want to walk in there. And then you're going to sit in your car and have a panic attack. Well, but if you say, wait a second, today I'm here to give my message. This has nothing to do with me. Like, who am I, right? Lauren. Okay. But I'm here for the message. So I can't be nervous talking in front of you because I just completely reframed that thought. So if I think, okay, I'm here for the message, I'm going to say my thing, and I'm going to try to connect with these human beings and make their day better, well, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I could do that. Change my feelings. Thought, feeling, action. Thought, feeling, action. To change these, you got to change this. Always look at your thoughts like you have a bird's eye view on what's going on in your brain. Monitor your thoughts. Stop them, change them. Oh, wait, can I do one thing? This will be fun. You ready? I want everybody to think of a horse. Every single person in here, do you have a horse in your head? Think of a horse. Are you picturing a horse? Adwoa, you picturing a horse?
Yeah.
Max, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody here? My horse is brown.
Such low voices.
My horse is brown. What color is your horse? Black? White? Brown. Okay. Everybody got your horse? Black, white, and brown. Any other color horse?
Purple.
Mine's
Purple.
pink.
Yellow.
Purple, pink, yellow. Brown, white, black. Rainbow. Okay, everybody get your individual horse. You got it in your head? Okay, horses, horses, horses. Repeat after me. Horses, horses, horses.
Horses, horses, horses.
Horses, horses.
That was so weak. All together now. Horses, horses, horses.
Horses.
Okay, cool. Stop thinking of horses. Did you do it? You know what, wait, sometimes elephants work better. Sorry, just give me a minute. Elephants. Thinking of an elephant, my elephant's gray. What color is your elephant? It's gray? Anybody have other than gray elephant? Blue, pink. Okay, so you got your elephant in your head. Everybody picturing it? Give me a yes. Yes. Thank you. Elephants, elephants, elephants. Say it. Elephants, elephants, elephants. You're not thinking of horses. In order to change your thoughts, you can't just say, stop thinking that. You have to replace it with something more rational. That's how it works. In order to feel differently and behave differently, you have to think differently. How do we think differently? We monitor our thoughts and we replace them with something that makes a hell of a lot more sense and makes us feel better. So that's emotionally. And then intellectually, I came up with that when I was 12, by the way. And then intellectually, I just try to learn something new about myself every day. And so I think if you monitor those 4 aspects of yourself and you recognize that you came everything that you need to be and your only goal is to stand in your own power, I can't imagine you having a bad day.
Maxime?
Mine's a little less impressive, but gotta say, Lauren, amazing. I would just say what really helped me, first of all, get rid of all the negativity in your life. Everyone who you're friends with, you know, because you want to be popular or because they look cool or, you know, whatever reason you may have, if they're impacting you negatively, get rid of them. Because before you do that, you will never be happy. I am 100% sure of it. Like, no, you won't be 100% happy. Stop comparing yourself to others. And I know it's hard. Like, I know it's really hard, especially when you're young, but just try. Because, yeah, like Lauren said, you're gonna get so caught up in something that's either not real or, you know, you're so far away from it that it doesn't mean anything to you. You think that you want that and, you know, you think that's your goal, but really, no, just stop doing that. And yeah, start loving yourself. I feel like that's so important. And I feel like it's so important that a lot more people are educated. So please educate yourself because, I mean, once you learn, like Lauren said, like I try to learn something every day because it broadens your way of thinking and it's just something amazing, you know, never like think, oh, I've seen it all, you know, I've done it all. No. Every day, get up and try to learn something. I feel like that's really important to get to know yourself and be really happy. Yeah.
Thank you. Adwoa?
I'm always quite emotional. I always get quite emotional when I speak about this one. Where do I start? To all of you, like Lauren said, it's fine. It's okay to feel. So let's just say that. Not feel sad, not to just feel that it's okay. And I just promise you, I am a living example of what can happen if you open your mind and if you stand in your power. So I promise you that, like a breakup, when you don't think about that person one day, I promise you there comes a day, there comes a morning that you get out of bed and you feel more comfortable and you feel less frightened. So just keep at it. You know, it sounds cheesy, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Always. And there is you girls, there's you men and women that I found from doing, you know, taking that walk and choosing that path instead of that one. And I've found something. And I promise you, you wake up and that puzzle starts to click and it starts to piece together. And also like Maxine said, fuck all those people that are trying to bring you down. Now they gotta go. All that negative stuff has gotta go because you gotta do the work on yourself. So yeah.
Add one more thing.
Yeah, sure.
I keep like getting inspired by you people, so you know. never give up, please. Like, whoever you are, wherever you are, I don't know who's listening, please never give up, because I have been there, and I know Adwoa has been there. And maybe Lauren, like, when you're at rock bottom and you're thinking, I have no one, I have nothing to live for, you do. Work hard, educate, and love, you know, spread love, and good things will come to you. Light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah.
And just one more thing real quick. You know, because what I was just thinking as they were talking is, comfort is really nice, but you don't have to be comfortable. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You know, just because you don't feel okay doesn't mean you're not okay. And you need to remember why you're here. You know, you're here to meet your purpose. Your purpose is you. Nobody really said it was going to feel so great, right? And so just because you don't feel okay some days doesn't mean you're not okay all days. That's just part of the human condition. That's just part of what it's like to be here.
Thank you. So we have some time left for questions from the audience. I'm sure there are quite a lot. So if you want to ask something, just raise your hand, and then we get to you with a microphone. Or maybe there are not that many. Oh, here. Let's see. What?
Are you asking all of us, Babs?
Hi. How was your journey with self-love?
How was it?
Yeah. What was it like?
I'm still on it. I'm really, really still on it. I have to do so many things to make sure. And I don't always even call it journey of self-love. I literally just make sure that I like myself every day. Just like. That's good enough for me sometimes. And it is, like Lauren said, I have to make sure I've always got that balance in my life. That I see friends, that I work hard, that I eat, sleep, relax, exercise. But it's been an amazing journey. It's been the most enlightening and wonderful and frightening journey. But I would not have Girls Talk, I would not have everything, I would not be sitting here, I would not have met Maxim and Lauren or any of you girls. You know, meeting you all over these past 2 days has been, that is why I'm here, this is why I do this. So, you know, every time one of you comes up to me, it means more than I could possibly explain.
Anyone else? Oh, yeah. Back. Oh, here. Sorry.
I have the microphone, sorry. Lauren, I had a question for you. You talked about that for you, it took you 4 decades to, you know, be comfortable with yourself. And I feel like if I talk to my mother, for instance, she also says like, well, you know, now I finally feel relaxed and I can be myself. And isn't it kind of the zeitgeist right now that young people just have to do everything, so they have to, you know, be ambitious, and there's this fetishism with being young that also when you're young you have to be the truest form of yourself, while it's actually quite human to just take decades to be extremely comfortable with yourself? Like, how does that, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so I think, well, there's a couple of questions in that question maybe, right? Okay, so first off, you know, you said, is it normal for you finding yourself and being yourself, is it normal for it to be a lifelong process? I guarantee you, if I'm here in 20 years, that I will not think I had found myself today. Because there were many times, you know, this isn't a linear process. It's not like you start here and it's like, you know, it's been 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, down in a fetal position in a corner, rock, 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 get up, keep going. You know, it was like that for years. And it's not like there weren't good moments, you know? Like, it's not like there weren't times that I thought like, yeah, I got it. It's just that I was after something. You know, even this past New Year's Eve, you know, every New Year's Eve I do a New Year's resolution list, right? And so this, you know, every year I'll think, literally, I'm not kidding, for the past 15 years, I have said the same thing to myself on New Year's Day. You know what? Last year, that was the year I got it. Now this year, I'm gonna use it. Not kidding. Every year I say, last year I figured this shit out, and this year I can use it. And what I realized is like, wait a second. This is it. Like, what's the it? Like, what am I figuring out? I think we make so many things like these big, lofty ideas of, we're gonna get to this spot, or we're gonna feel this, and it's gonna be like, that shit never comes. This is it, right here, right now. This is it. And so I think it's realizing that is what I mean. It's not like there's this overwhelming comfort every day. You know, it's not like there's this like feeling like I have arrived. It's not like that. It's like, okay, another day, this is cool. We're good. We're here. That's nice. You know, so I think that our idea when we're younger is that this is going to end up at some destination. And I think as we get older, we recognize that each day is the destination, you know? So that's the first part. The second part was how young so much is put on the youth of you need to do this and you need to do that and you need to do the other thing. Well, you know, I think that that's all of those social norms that we talk about, right? So social norms for being, you know, successful for young women is the new skinny. Right? And so it's like, okay, so now that we're in the workplace, let's all be the best and it's this whole thing that we get caught up in. And recognizing that that's just another one of those norms that we need to look at objectively, put aside so we can gain clarity so that we could really be who we are and do what we're doing here. You know? So I think just recognizing that that's just another one of those norms. Because how do we define successful? Who's defining that for us? Is that norm? I think so. There's no such thing. Like, what does that even mean? Okay.
Hi. As someone who, ever since I was young, I felt this responsibility to help other people. And of course, struggled with a lot of these things and found out, as you have said, a lot of it is like, you know, cortisol levels down, serotonin up, and that was my problem. But at the same time, I feel like I need to take the time to explain to people sometimes, and it drains me. So how would you guys say, like, keeping that level between helping yourself and also helping other people? Because sometimes it's hard. Sometimes people don't understand. You have to take the time, and I feel like, okay, if I don't do it, then no one will, or, you know, like, or does it come in along the line of helping yourself and loving yourself? So what was your guys' experience with that?
I think I actually feel the same way sometimes. And that's why I really preach things like this on social media. That's why I use a big platform rather than to inform every single person that I meet, because it can be draining. I know it can. And you need to know you don't owe every single person an explanation. It's not because, you know, you feel this thing inside of you, like you want to educate people. A lot of people come up to me and ask me so many questions, and I'm always open for everything. But there's a time and a place. And sometimes I really don't feel like talking about my surgery or, you know, talking about my struggles, because, you know, you have off days, and you need to understand that, yeah, you don't owe everyone an explanation. And I feel like once you get that and you start using maybe a bigger platform, that's when it will be less draining. Like for me, it is, because I preach it at one time to more people rather than having to explain it to every single person.
Yeah.
You want to go?
Yeah. I'm in that place right now where it's like being able to protect yourself. It's you know, it's part of my codependency issues that I do what I do. I couldn't do it if I didn't want to, you know, I just want to help everyone all the time. But the story of 2014 for me is also really traumatic to talk about sometimes. And there are days where I just don't want to talk about it. And it's also not it's not everything that girls talk is about. So I completely understand. I'm in that position right now where it's like, how do I help but also protect myself? But I mean, Lauren's kind of even said that. It's like, again, and so is Maxim, you know, you don't owe anyone really anything.
You know, let me chime in here too really quick. Hold on. Okay, here's the deal. You know, as you were talking, I was thinking, we've all been there. You know, I was always so desperate for people to like me and understand me, because then I thought that I would feel a little bit better, or at least feel not as badly. You know, I always feel like I was letting people down. And what I've learned over time is that it's much more important for people to respect us than like us. And a lot of times that's very different. We teach people how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. And when we set boundaries, people respect us. And then when people respect you, there's an opportunity for them to love you. But when people like you without respecting you and your boundaries, it's more about them being self-centered and liking themselves, so it really has nothing to do with you. So in order to actually connect with other people in a meaningful way and have the relationships that you deserve, it's really important that you set boundaries and you treat yourself and your own time and your own mental energy with respect, and other people will follow suit. And if they don't, that just means that they're in an unhealthy place. And that has nothing to do with you, and it's not your responsibility. The way that we take responsibility for ourselves is to respond and not react to our environment, not react to what other people around us are doing. We're always keeping our side of the street clean, doing our thing regardless of what's going on here. And that's how we respect ourselves, and we teach people then how to treat us. And when people respect us, and you can feel the difference between the needy, clingy, and the, oh, hi, you're here. It's a whole different energy and opens you for a completely different kind of healthy relationship.
For example, you see someone acting a certain way towards, for example, women, or I don't know, like I'm Middle Eastern, and that comes with a whole like lot of baggage. And like you feel like if like I feel like, oh, I really can't. Like I don't have the energy, but when I see someone having this mentality and oppressing so many other people with what they say or whatever, or if it's someone close to me, for example, and then it's like, okay, then maybe if I do take the time and I drain myself, maybe in the end it'll be worth it, that they will change their minds a little bit and not do the same things to other people, or
yeah,
you know?
I totally get it. In that instance, right? So I usually say my piece because I truly believe that silence is never the way to go, that our voice is super important, and that it's our duty to use that voice.
And it's exhausting. I've kind of taken on the idea that for a while, I think for a long time, maybe the rest of my life, I'm going to be pretty tired. But I get to do this. And spreading the word is pretty exhausting, but I'm happy to be tired.
And I think you have to be comfortable too with pacing and leading. You know, like you don't need, somebody's mind isn't going to go, oh, okay, you just said that, got it, right? Because years of experiences have led them to believe and think the way that they think. And so one conversation isn't going to be like, oh my God, light bulb on. So it's not like if you change it a little bit, all of a sudden they're going to get it. So it's just like chipping away, like at a tree, right? So you do your little chip and you go on with your day.
Thank you very much. We need to wrap this up now, unfortunately.
Wow.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you for spreading your thoughts. Have a good evening.